You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in to the Outspoken Network Sportscast Edition, episode 201. We got your headlines of the week. You got your hosts, Brian and Craig. Craig, brother man, how you been?
How are you, sir?
Oh, pretty good. I'm ready to start off this weekend as we're going to go through the NFL draft, talk about a lot of the first round, the NFL second round is going on right now. We'll fill you in on some of that. We're going to talk the NBA playoffs, a little bit of baseball as well. And then stick around, guys, and find out what's in our locker right after this. All right, guys, welcome in. It's the Outspoken Network here. Episode 201, Craig broke the 200 mark yesterday as he did a live draft edition and going over that, so appreciate that, Craig. Interesting draft so far, so let's get into it. Second round's going on right now. The number one player on the board, the Panthers took number one, is Bryce Young. Now, I watched a little bit of the start of the show last night, Craig, and I don't know why the Panthers took the full 10 minutes to tell us someone we knew they were going to take 2 weeks ago, but they take the full 10 minutes. They pick a quarterback. They need a quarterback. I think it's a good pick. I think Bryce Young, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the draft. I think he has the most games against SEC, really good competition. So I like the pick from Bryce or from the Panthers. I think that, they obviously got their future quarterback. Hopefully it pans out. You never know, but I think he's going to be a good fit for them. They put a team around him, but the Panthers pick number one, and they pick Bryce Young. So,
yeah, his only fallback is he's 5'10" and has some baby hands, but outside of that, I mean, he's made all the throws. He's done all the stuff in college, so he should be fine.
Yeah, they got to surround him there, and they're starting a whole new regime there in Carolina, so that'd be interesting to see what they do. Houston, a little bit of shocker in this draft with the second pick. They picked C.J. Stroud. There was rumors going around that they weren't going for a quarterback, and I think they were just kind of throwing everybody off. They picked C.J. Stroud at Ohio State. It's Ohio State quarterback. We'll see what happens. They have that stigma of never panning out to be the guy I think that they think they could be. Whether that be fair or not, we'll see. We're going to find out now. They've got to put players around them, and especially on the offensive side, the offensive line, and good wide receivers. But they also, what a shocker it was when they got to number 3 as well. So they went back-to-back in the top 3 picks and got Will Anderson from Alabama, absolute beast of a player. So they got their offensive guy. They got their defensive guy. So far, good draft for Houston. You got to be excited if you're the Houston Texans fan.
Yeah, I just don't like giving up next year's one for that already to move up like that. And because you're probably not going to be great just because you draft those two guys. You're still going to be pretty bad off. And to give up, next year's one, you can't rebuild your team if you don't have, a draft pick next year. So that was a lot to give up for a guy who, yeah, he's going to be good. But if you look at the way the draft fell, they could have gone to 7 or 8 or 9 and still got the other end from Texas Tech, or they could have gotten some other stuff, and they just didn't need to give up all that to do that.
Yeah. What they give? What was the package they gave up? You said next year's first.
Next year's first and a third for next year as well, or something to that effect, and then they swapped, picks this year, where they went from 2 to wherever they were at, and I think Arizona went to 6 and then switched with Detroit, or 8 or 9, and 9, and then switched that with Detroit. But I just thought that it was a lot to give up for a guy that I mean, even if he's really good, it's a defensive end, and I mean, those guys, there was multiple ones in the draft. To give up that much to move up just didn't seem smart.
I didn't know how much they gave up. That's the first I heard of that. So that is a lot to give up for guys that were still on the board that could have had a really good impact as well.
Yeah, because
so I do agree.
I mean, if that was the final piece and that's what you needed to make it go to the Super Bowl, then that's a different story. But you're not gonna. I mean, you had 1 win last year. You might have 5 or 6. I mean, C.J. Stroud's not going to be the second coming of Aaron Rodgers over here. I mean, it's just not. He's not going to win 10, 12 games, I don't think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
that'd be a shocker to go to Houston and win those many games.
I just think I think you're still gonna be dealing. I think you're gonna that number 1 pick from next year is really gonna hurt. So
definitely could, and maybe they trade something away and get that first round back somewhere. But we'll see. And like you said, this isn't going. Those two guys aren't going to win you the Super Bowl. But as far as Houston goes, I think being aggressive, and getting your quarterback and getting a playmaker on defense, you've got to be somewhat excited. So that was really shocking when they jumped back up. I was like, oh man, wow, okay, they're going.
Well, I had heard it earlier in the day, but I didn't think. I knew what it was going to call. I was doing the chart, and I was like, that's going to cost them an arm and a leg to move up that high. So I didn't think they would actually pull the trigger. I kind of thought it was just all a smokescreen. But
Colts reach at 4, in my opinion, as they take Anthony Richardson, Florida quarterback who only played 13 college football games, doesn't have the tape. His athletic ability is definitely there. He's a freak athlete. He likes to run the ball a lot, but I just think they reached here. This guy is just too high. It's just too high to take. A top 5 draft pick. It's just insane to me. I figure maybe Carolina might take him because it's a Cam Newton 2.0, but without this college success, in my opinion. So we'll see if he pans out there. The Colts have been an organization that's had the talent but haven't put it together over the last couple of years. Now they're in quarterback limbo, and I just don't think this is the guy that's going to come in there and be an answer that you're going to go, okay, this guy is our answer for a quarterback position. I just don't see that happening. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. He'll be a interesting athlete to watch, definitely, but I just don't think it's that good of a pick, and I think it's quite a bit of a reach.
Yeah, I didn't like the tape. I didn't like the deal. I didn't have him. I had him as really the lowest of the 4 big name quarterbacks. I just didn't see anything that really jumped out to me that was just like, yeah, I got to do that right now. I got to pick him. I mean, when I heard the talks earlier in the month because for a while he was 1. They were talking about him at 1, and I didn't understand that. And I didn't understand this, and I don't agree with it. And I mean, maybe Indy gets out of him something that we didn't see, but I I just don't think that his game translates to the NFL. That offense, it didn't do Tebow well. Tebow was a very successful, what you would consider the best college football quarterback to ever play college football, and just didn't pan out in the NFL. Just the game doesn't translate. That running, the Justin Fields type deal, that's great, but you're a glorified running back and you're making quarterback money, and I think they're gonna regret not taking Levis instead of Richardson, to me. Either your mic's muted or
Yeah, it was muted. My bad.
okay.
We'll get to that in a little bit. Levis ended up going to Tennessee in the second round. We'll get to that in a second. Now, we're not going to go through every single pick. We'll go through the top 10, we'll talk about Green Bay and the Cowboys as well, maybe some other like standouts. But Devin Witherspoon goes to Seattle. Don't know much about this guy. You probably do. He's a good, cornerback. What do you think about Devin Witherspoon?
His play is very solid, but he's 180 pounds soaking wet, and he has not been able to put in weight on, no matter what they've done in the weight room. So to me, when you get up to the NFL and they're bigger, faster, stronger, those guys are just going to just run over him. He's not going to be able to tackle guys. He's not going to be able to. I mean, he might be able to keep up with them speed wise and cover them, but in a jump ball, wide receivers are just going to body this guy up, and now maybe the NFL can put some weight on him and make him into what deal. I liked Christian, the guy from Oregon, better myself, as a Christian Gonzalez as a number one cornerback. Witherspoon was good, and I think he'll translate, but he's got to get in the weight room and put some weight on and get the frame of an NFL player at 6'1" or 6'2" and 180 pounds. It just isn't gonna translate.
That's gonna be hard to translate over, especially against big wide receivers.
Yeah, you get somebody, the Calvin Johnson size or Quentin Johnson. When Quentin Johnson goes out there, he's just going to body the guy up, and he's not going to be able to cover those guys. And so, it's just, to me, it was a little bit of a reach. Just from the tape that I watched. Again, I'm not an expert at this, but I look at it and I just translate size, and right. I just don't see it translate in the NFL.
It's not that big, that Legion of Boom size kind of guys that Seattle looks for. So Paris Johnson Jr., Ohio State, from offensive tackle, goes at 6. Not those offensive linemen are not very sexy, but when they're great, they're great. And adding them to the offensive line to protect Kyle Murray is a good pick there for the Cardinals. You got Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech, defensive end, going to the Raiders. They just bulked up that defensive line.
It's a huge get. That guy fell right in their lap.
My biggest question mark for the Raiders, though, is what are they doing at quarterback? Because I don't think they got their guy.
They tried to trade up to get Levis, and whatever Tennessee gave up was more. So. They could have took a quarterback at 7 instead of a defensive end. You got Hendon Hooker is the only name left on the board that
from Tennessee who tore his ACL,
who will not play this year. They say he's going to be ready to play, but I don't think.
I liked. What did you think of Hooker? I liked his game this last season. I thought he had really good potential, and he played really well. He matched up and beat Alabama, and I really liked him. And then when he tore his ACL, I felt bad because Tennessee obviously fell off from there, but
I think he's got some accuracy issues. But what college kid doesn't?
Right.
And
I don't think Troyman's always said accuracy is something you can't improve. I think you're wrong on that one, Troy. I think you're wrong on that one.
Yeah. So I just as long as he doesn't have the gun shy return from the ACL, I think he'll be okay. I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback.
It's a mental
Yeah, it is. I mean, you saw that with the guy from Dallas, the wide receiver.
Gallup.
Gallup, he just wasn't the same guy when he came back from it. But then again, there's guys, like Adrian Peterson who come back and have the greatest season of their life. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's all a mentality, and the first time you put that foot in the ground, is your mental going to be there enough to make the throws and do what you need to do. But that's the only name left. I mean, unless they just really reach, Hendon Hooker is the only guy left that they could draft.
Bijan Robinson goes at number 8 to Atlanta, and this is a head-scratching move to me. A running back like this is a running back as good as Bijan Robinson is a pick that you take when you're looking for kind of a final piece for a winning team. The Atlanta Falcons are way off. They're nowhere close. This running back is going to waste a lot of good years there when they're trying to build around him. They don't have a quarterback. They have a lot of lacking holes on defense. This team is not there, and just take a running back at 8 is mind blowing and absolutely one of the, in my opinion, the dumbest picks in the draft. And Craig just bounced, so I'm here by myself. But the Atlanta Falcons are not that team, right? They've got a lot of holes. Like I just said, their quarterback is they have Marcus Mariota, who they let go, who played decent last year, but not franchise quarterback. We all know who he is. And they go out and get Bijan Robinson, who a lot of people really liked, and he is an absolute beast of a running back. But that's a thing that you take. That's, like I said, that's a piece you take when you are set. When you are kind of moving in the right direction and going to be a successful football team, and they're just not there. And I think that's just a terrible pick for them. They could have drafted a quarterback. They could have got a defensive end. They didn't, and I don't like that pick one bit. The Philadelphia Eagles at number 9 get Jalen Carter from Georgia, an absolute beast. Jalen Carter is from Georgia, getting to the quarterback. If there's anything that we know, Georgia breeds them a defense, man. Georgia's defense, they go a lot every year in the top 10, and their defenses are absolute beast. And Georgia has a lot of success there at sending guys to the NFL and sending them in the top picks. And Jalen Carter is going to be just right there with Fletcher Cox with the Philadelphia Eagles, and filter up or really buffer up that defensive line for the Eagles. This is not good for the Cowboys in that NFC East. The Bears move up and get Darnell Wright from Tennessee, an offensive tackle to protect Justin Fields. Justin Fields needs a lot of protection because he's running around. So I actually like this move for the Chicago Bears. Protecting their quarterback is big. He's had no time in the pocket, and I know he can run, but when you're running is different than running to save your life. Last year, Chicago Bears could not protect him. Justin Fields was running for his life a lot in most games, and I still don't think Justin Fields is a good quarterback, but this is a good move in my opinion for Chicago to get him some offensive line help. I think they need to add another weapon here to help out as well. Tennessee at 11, they take an offensive lineman. You got number 12, the Lions. This is mind-blowing to me, and I'm glad they continue to be terrible. The Lions pick a running back at 12 in Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. And he was a good player in Alabama. But there was only one running back that had a first-round grade, and that was Bijan Robinson. It wasn't this guy. They reached here big time. They already have 2 running backs. They just paid Montgomery a lot of money to be their running back. They have a backup in Swift. Maybe they're going to let him go. Maybe they try and trade him away or something. But this is not a good pickup, in my opinion, for they got this is not a good pick for the Lions, and I think it's one of the most mind-blowing picks in the draft. It makes me scratch my head, and you'll wonder why the Detroit Lions continue to be kind of
Oh,
a laughing
want in on
stock
this.
of a laughing stock they were headed in the right direction and they go out and make this stupid. This is probably the biggest boneheaded move in the draft. Like, I didn't like the Bijan Robinson pick. I talked about Jalen Carter going to the Eagles. Not good for Dallas. The guy's a stud. And then I went down to the number 12 at Jamar Gibbs in Alabama. Now Jamar Gibbs from Alabama was a decent running back. They have multiple decent running backs out of Alabama. He's that fast kind of catch you out of the backfield type of guy with speed. But this is the biggest reach in the draft. A running back, and I was just saying, they just paid Montgomery a lot of money to be the backup, to be the running back. They go out and get him. It's just a terrible reach for the Lions fans, and I think they panic. I think their guy went off the board, and they really didn't know what to do, and they picked
He didn't go off the board, though. That's the problem. They had the 1A defensive end right there in Tyree from Texas Tech sitting right in their lap. They didn't have to go.
No, he traded. Yeah, they traded down.
They had Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback that they need. He's sitting right there.
Yeah, it's a laughable move for them. Trading down is okay, but when you trade down and then you draft a running back that had a day 2 guy, a day 3 guy, at least a day 2 guy as number 12, you pick him a top 15 pick. That's laughable. And I think Detroit has been in the offseason for all the wrong reasons. They could have taken a wide receiver to help because all their wide receivers are suspended for gambling. They get a running back. It's just terrible move. Absolutely terrible.
I don't. I mean, starting with Jalen Carter, that's going to be a great pickup for Philly if he can. He has terrible work ethic and he has off the field issues. That's the guy who was drag racing and killed a teammate and killed a coach, and he just has no work ethic. This very easily could be a Taco Charlton move, or it could work out and he could be a stud. I don't know, but he has off the field issues in Georgia, and we'll see if they follow him to the NFL. The Bijan Robinson, that's a complete reach at 8. I can't. And you just had statistically all kinds of productivity from that position this year. It's just a reach. I mean, and then the Lions thing, I can't even wrap my head around it. You had the second, or in some people's opinion, the best defensive end in the draft, sitting right there at 6. You decide to trade back, which I disagree with that, but okay, if that's what you go with, that's fine. And the running joke is the head coach and the GM just had some gummies after they traded it back to Deal and just forgot the rest of the night because you just this guy was the second round at best. And I mean, you didn't need a running back. You just paid Montgomery. You have Swift. You have all these other guys. You needed a cornerback. You needed a defensive end. Could you imagine putting Tyree on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson? The Green Bay Packers would have been hating life twice a year because they had to go face that. And any team would have not wanted to face that defense. And you had Christian Gonzalez sitting there, at 9 when they traded back. You could have had him. And you just even the guys, the other guy they drafted, he's okay, but he's not. I'm mind blown.
It is. It's the biggest head scratching move of the draft so far.
At least of round 1.
At least.
I mean,
and I didn't think anybody was gonna. I didn't think anybody was gonna outdo the Anthony Richardson in the top 5. But the Lions said, "Hold my beer." I got you.
Yeah. That was a very, very scratching move. So.
Luca Van Ness goes to Green Bay at 13. He's from Iowa. We've liked him, and there's been rumors we liked him for a long time. I knew this guy's name for a little while. Is it a bad move? I don't think it's a terrible move. Is it the guy I wanted? No. I wanted Green Bay to go out and draft a wide receiver. I wanted them to finally stop drafting defensive players in the first round, go out and get a wide receiver in the first round. Last year, we didn't even do that. We drafted Watson in the second round, and it panned out pretty good because he last season he looked really good. But I want him to go get a star wide receiver, a Smith from Ohio State, Quentin Johnston from TCU, or Zay Flowers from Boston College. I would have taken any of those three. They're still on the board there. You go out and you get a guy that maybe turns out to be really good. He's a physical specimen. They're going to put him on the other side of Rashawn Gary, who tore his ACL, and this guy kind of reminds me of Rashawn Gary. When we drafted Rashawn Gary about 2 or 3 years ago, it was people were like, he didn't play that well in college. He came out as number one high school recruit, didn't play that well in college. We drafted him, and I kind of scratched my head at that. And he's an absolute beast, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. He tore his ACL last year, unfortunately. But adding him, or putting him over there on one side, and Lucas Van Ness, if he turns out to be a good football player, on the other side, you're looking for a pretty good pass rush there in Green Bay. So I don't know, Craig, how do you feel about that pick? Ryan Sims always tells me Green Bay reaches on every pick they make, so I don't take his shit. I don't take that stuff seriously because every draft pick, he's like, oh, that was a reach. You could have got this guy. He's better. But he was wrong on some of those picks last year as who was going to be good or not.
In this case, he might have been around a few more picks later, only because it's like the Anthony Richardson deal. There just wasn't enough tape on this guy. He wasn't a starter. He wasn't a full-time player. He only was used in kind of like spots or situations. And I take that under two paths, Here's a guy that you didn't have a lot of tape on, didn't play full-time and didn't start, but yet what they did see, they felt that they were to draft him at 15. You somehow got up to get an NFL team to draft you at 15. So, just because it's not always the tape. I mean, it's the interviews with these guys and the system you fit in and what they talked to them and what they saw.
And what they think they can coach.
What they think they can make him do. Yeah, it's the same thing with Dallas at 26. This guy, they say he's a two-down player, and they say Mazi Smith is a two-down player and can't rush the passer. Well, Dallas says right away in the interview after the deal, we think we can get the pass rush out of him. Micah Parsons went bananas last night. He texted the defensive coordinator for Dallas earlier in the day and said, I want this guy. And Dan Quinn says, I'm about that life with 6 exclamation points. And when Micah's on a Bleacher Report podcast during the draft, and when they tell him that they get Mazi Smith, he's like, that's what I'm talking about. Here's my phone. Look what it says. I tell you, Dan Quinn, Dan wouldn't let me down. Like, that's who he wanted. So
now
why everybody else experts say, you're not running the team. Like what the team wants. So,
well, it's interesting because I thought Dallas was going to go the tight end. I think the guy they wanted kind of went off the board right before them.
Buffalo jumped him, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad they did because that guy was a reach to me.
Yeah. So we'll see. The Dallas Cowboys have not put anything into that defensive tackle position. So now you got a guy
they haven't. So I can't argue about that. I've been the one screaming for years. They haven't since 1991 when they drafted Russell Maryland. Well, guess what happened when they drafted Russell Maryland? They were pretty good back then.
Right. All right, let's move on down here. We got the first wide receiver to go off the board, Jackson Smith. I don't know how you say that last name. Njigba. I really liked him in Ohio State. He did have some injuries there, but I liked his play. That's the guy I wanted them to get in Green Bay, or Quentin Johnson from TCU goes right after him to the Chargers. And what an absolute weapon that's going to be for why did my mind go blank? Quarterback, Chargers. What's his face? Herbert. Going to be an absolute beast for Herbert. And then Zay Flowers, the Ravens, who don't even care about wide receivers because the quarterback can't throw the football. They go out and they get Odell Beckham, which they paid him way too much money. And then they spend their first round pick on a wide receiver. So Lamar Jackson
and you
must be in their ear.
right?
No, I did not. Second round pick. I haven't
No,
seen a second round.
Antonio Brown came out of retirement and is going.
Oh
to the
yeah. I mean,
I mean,
I'll
he
take
can
that
do
with
something.
he did something with Tampa, so we'll see. But
I mean, they went from having nobody to having three pretty solid.
they have two solid, right? Well, three with the tight ends, the third, and then they get a rookie.
Well,
which
they
you
get the
don't
rookies.
know.
I mean, Flowers. Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham. I mean,
Well,
throw the tight end in.
I'm not counting Zay Flowers yet as solid until we see it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, he has weapons now.
'Cause
where
my-
last year he didn't have any.
My problem with the whole Odell thing was when they made that happen. I said you're asking Odell to be your number one, and he's not.
I
But
agree.
now you're asking Odell to be a 2 or a 3, and that's where it works out because that is where he would thrive with his age and everything. So we'll see. Ravens went from having nobody and almost no quarterback to having a good wide receiver group and their quarterback. So things have turned around just like that for the Baltimore Ravens. All right, well that's pretty much the first round. Let's see the second round real quick in the draft. Joey Porter goes to the Steelers. Green Bay takes a tight end. Oh, okay. Luke Musgrave. I actually like the Oregon State tight end. I've seen him play a couple games there. So we got a tight end finally. Hopefully it turns out. TCU Steve Avila goes to the Rams, offensive guard. Will Levis is probably the best pick in this second round draft pick in the second round so far. I think he's a good fit for Tennessee. They obviously don't like the quarterback they drafted last year at all. So Ryan Tannehill, has he been released or is he still?
No, he will be there if they need him to be. I don't know whether or not they have not said what their plans are.
I think they have no faith in that rookie that they drafted last year.
None. That's clear by this move.
And Will Levis is a better quarterback there than him. The only problem now is that they're going to trade away. They're trying to trade away their safety blanket in Derrick Henry. He still hasn't gone nowhere.
Which puts a lot of pressure on a rookie quarterback.
And if Tannehill's playing without his safety blanket, he's going to fold like a chair at the folding chair at the pool. Like, not going to be good for Tennessee. It's almost time to start blowing that up. I mean, you just they're not going to get any better from here, I don't think.
No, Tannehill's older, Henry's older. I mean, yeah, I think that maybe what they're doing by the Levis signing is kind of the Green Bay move. They're waving the white flag and moving to the younger restart, deal.
Sorry, I had to look at the text real quick. My buddy Ryan just said you all took my tight end I wanted, Luke Musgrave. So
yeah, Detroit took the other one in Laporta.
So I'll take it. We needed a tight end just as bad as Dallas needed one.
Well, Dallas has two. I don't really understand the
probably were. We need one worse than you. Anyways, sorry, my phone was blowing up. All right. We'll keep you updated. Green Bay picks again and 2 picks. Let's talk about the Lamar Jackson contract. We hit on it a little bit while ago. Lamar gets a $260 million a year, a 5-year contract extension where $260 million with $185 million guaranteed. They work it out there. This is pretty crazy to me because you never know who to believe on these stories. I was led to believe basically that he was as good as gone. This is not repairable. They disrespected him. They get the deal done. They just added the wide receivers out the wazoo, and this team should be a completely different team next season. They probably still go. I think they probably finish up drafting a bunch of defensive guys. They've always had that good defense, a defensive-minded team. And if you add that mindset with some offensive weapons for your quarterback, and your quarterback can actually throw the ball, which that's that's the question mark with him still, then they look to be a completely different team next season. With Lamar Jackson doesn't come back, then you're looking at a really bad football team. But
yeah, no, absolutely. They went and give him basically $5 more million guaranteed and $5 more million overall than the deal that the guy in Philadelphia just got and Jalen Hurts just got, and they get the deal done. And nobody saw this coming, and you had to think that when they signed Odell that something was going to happen, or that they had told Odell, we're going to get Lamar, don't worry about it, because Odell's not going to go play for nobody. So when they signed the Odell Beckham, I kind of thought that it would get done, but it just materialized very quickly. And then they go out and get a couple more in the draft, and so that'll be interesting to see what they do the rest of how that team turns around.
Now the division that the Ravens are in, not the Falcons, the Ravens, they had the Browns, the Bengals, the Steelers. It's been a competitive division for the longest of times. This, in my opinion, makes them number 2. I don't think this puts them over the Bengals, but I think this is a solid number 2 team over the other two, and I think maybe they compete for the number 1 in that division next year. They've got to hope that the Bengals take a step back, but I think you've got to be really happy if you're a Baltimore fan of what they've done, from going from straight up dumpster fire to one of the best off seasons in so far in the NFL. I gotta say that's pretty dang good. So, dang it, Green Bay traded out with the Lions, so we didn't draft a second round pick. But anywho, do you think that all these moves? Do you think this is this makes them competitive with the Bengals for that, or do you just think the Bengals are kind of the team to beat there in that division?
I still think the Bengals are. I mean, they've gone to a Super Bowl and as close to being in a Super Bowl back to back as they could get. I just think the Bengals, are the team until they show me that they're not. That's the team to beat in that division.
I agree, definitely. This makes Baltimore, in my opinion, definitely a wild card lock for next season, in my opinion. So we'll see how it pans out there. All right, well, that's your NFL news. Keep watching the draft. We'll the draft is what? The draft will end what, Sunday?
I think Saturday. I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
All right, let's go to the NBA playoffs. We've had a interesting upset here. We've had the Bucks losing to Miami, and then not just losing a close series of 4-3. You're talking about 4-1. Miami was the 8th seed. You don't see that in basketball very often, where the 8th seed beats the number 1 seed. Giannis was hurt with his back for a little while. I'm not trying to give them any excuses. And Miami's that team that's expected to be better this season. They didn't play up to their potential. They have the talent on their basketball team, and they didn't really play. This season they didn't really play to their potential. So they were kind of a dangerous team coming into this. I didn't expect them just to roll over, but they've had injuries too. Tyler Hero was hurt. What's the other guy?
Victor Oladipo was out.
Victor Oladipo was out. So this is a shocker for me. Giannis was asked about, is this a failure of a season? He took offense to that, and it is. You've got to be realistic with it. You got to be, coming off a championship the year before. This team is built to get out of the first round, and it's an absolute failure of a season. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can take offense to it if you want to, Giannis, but this is exactly what it is. And this has got to take a little bit of hit of the legacy of the Greek Freak, in my opinion.
Coach will get a pass because of the Giannis injury, but it wasn't the excuse. Jimmy Butler just put him on his back and drug him to where they needed to be. But see, this to me right here is why I have a problem with what Dallas did. Because look at a team like Dallas with two All-Stars, and Jimmy Butler goes and takes a team by himself and goes and beats the 1 seed. Now, am I going to tell you that Utah would have lost their best star for 3 games or 2.5 games or whatever? Maybe not. But I want to give Luka a shot to perform and be there and give him an opportunity. As when you tank, you don't give your team an opportunity. You never gave Luka or Kyrie an opportunity to even try to beat the 1 seed because you didn't make it. Miami made it. They fought their way in, and now look at them. They're moving on, and they've upset the whole East, and who knows where they go from here. I don't know if Oladipo won't be back. Hero might be if they last long enough, they might get Tyler Hero back. But the bottom line is Jimmy Butler's averaging 40 a game right now, and he's putting the team on his back and dragging them in there. And Eric Spoelstra, with what he's done over there, the guy has been nothing but gold over there. I mean, he's taken teams that were built for success and won. He's taken teams like this and won. So he's done it with both teams. And I just think that I think Milwaukee came in and just overlooked them. They said that's an 8 seed, and we're just going to come in and we're going to show up and we're a better team and we're a better player and we're going to win. And they didn't. And by the time they realized they were in trouble, it was too late.
Yeah, and going into the series, I thought, I said they're going to fight. I still expect Miami to win, and just to lose the way he did, 4-1 is just not like 4-3. If you lost in Game 7, close game, it's like, okay, I'm going to cut you a little bit of slack. But 4-1, this has got to take a hit, and I think this has got to put some motivation next year into the Bucks team. Boston beats Atlanta 4-2. Nothing really to write home about there. You got 76ers sweeping the Nets. They get a long break. The New York Knicks beat the Cavaliers 4-1. And this is a series I thought was going to be better than this. I thought this is going to be the best series in the playoffs. Both young teams, both with young talent. But the Cavaliers just didn't show up, and we'll see what the Knicks can do moving on to the second round. But Brunson moves on, and I know that's going to be kind of linked with Luka for a little while because, in the Mavericks, they let this guy go, and he's going to New York, and he leads them to a series win, and your 2 stars in Dallas couldn't even make the playoffs. So it's not a good year for Dallas at all. But the Western Conference, Timberwolves got sent packing by the Nuggets. Easy call there. Lakers and Memphis played game 7 or game 6 tonight. The Lakers are up 3-2, so if they win that series, they move on. I was hoping the Grizzlies to take them out. This is an upset. People don't like to think the Lakers have an upset. They're the 7th seed for a reason. Memphis is the 2nd seed for a reason. If they do win this, it'll be an upset in my eyes because the Lakers have had a really weird season. They've had a season where they started off horrifically bad. Anthony Davis decides to put the team on his back. LeBron James plays good down the stretch. Oh, actually, he didn't play he didn't play all that great down the stretch, but he was healthy enough. He stepped up in this series and it's played pretty good. So it's good to see Anthony Davis, Mr. Street Clothes, to have some get a backbone and get out there and play through the pain. And they're up 3-2. They probably take it. And they're a scary basketball team. This is not – the Lakers are on a team that you just kind of want to overlook. I didn't really believe in Memphis. Like last season, they were the 2nd seed. as well, and we were all kind of shocked, surprised about it. I really didn't believe they were a team to make a deep playoff run, and it doesn't look like they're going to be one this year either. But with a healthy Anthony Davis, who, when he wants to play and put the team on his back, can. This team is a dangerous basketball team. So, anything to add there with the Lakers and Grizzlies?
No, yeah, I mean, it appears the Lakers have the stronghold on the series. They've blown them out several times, and LeBron vowed to play better tonight, and see what happens.
You got Golden State up 3-2 on the Kings. Now the Warriors are 6 and Kings are 3. And I've told you before, I will never count out Golden State until they're headed home. This is a team with the talent, the coach. They know what it takes to win, and I'm not going to count them out. The Kings were a great story this season. You know, the 3 seed, they haven't made the playoffs in over 21 years, something like that, some weird, ugly number. The Kings fans have got to be ecstatic. They were the best basketball team in California this season. They outplayed the Lakers. They outplayed the Clippers. They outplayed the Warriors. So for Kings fans, you want to see that consistency next year. You want to see them come back and be consistent next year. And I'm not saying you got to make the 3 seed, but maybe a number 5 or number 6, make the playoffs again and fight. But interesting to see them this season. Warriors, I'll never count out. It wouldn't surprise me if they went on to win it all, but I'm hoping they don't. And I'm hoping they kind of blow the team up. There's been rumors about Draymond Green leaving and all sorts of stuff after the season. So we'll see what happens with them. They probably take that series tonight. And then you got the Clippers failing 4-1 to the Suns. Kawhi Leonard, did he sit out the series? Did he sit out some of the series? Did he get injured?
Yeah, he's got a torn meniscus. He's good.
Yeah. Then it's not surprising. The guy that wants to rest more than anybody else in the NBA is the guy that gets hurt when it matters the most. It's kind of ironic. Stephen A. Smith was on, and I really don't listen to this guy, but he said that the Clippers should force him to retire. Guy is an absolute waste of money. He sits out half the games. And that's why people don't like the NBA. They've lost a lot of fans. He's sitting out. I'm going to rest because I can't play a back-to-back. And I don't know, a little soft. He's Charmin soft over there. But that's your NBA update. Who after watching these games and watching these series, who do you think, if you had to pick right now, who do you think we're going to see in the championship?
I think Utah's had an amazing season.
Utah.
Or Denver.
Yeah.
Has had an amazing season. They've got a lot of big guys over there. I don't think the Warriors won 11 road games all year. They finally won one against the Kings the other day. But I don't think you want to go to a game 7, and they haven't run real great on the road all year. So I just don't think they have the team this year. The Lakers, you don't want to see them get rolling because anything could happen if LeBron and AD hit the fountain of youth a little bit and get rolling. The East is wide open now because Milwaukee's out, and you got teams that don't really have a lot of experience in the Knicks and Miami, and so I really don't know. I think Denver has to be the favorite right now. Denver and probably Boston.
Yeah, you took my picks because that's exactly what I had. I think Denver is probably the favorite. And this is kind of one of those years, if they don't make it, and what is it going to take? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the West is not as much of a juggernaut as it's been in the past.
No, it's not. And you see Golden State struggling, and if the Lakers don't make it out of the series, you don't want to see them get hot. But
Mavs don't make it at all. I mean, Memphis is going to be out. Maybe. I mean, the path is just being groomed for
yeah.
you.
You know, Boston's a good basketball team. They haven't been that championship caliber franchise in a long while. That we know that Boston's, you know, the history of Boston being a championship team. So I'm interested to see. And did you see their old coach went to Houston the other day?
Yeah.
What a huge downgrade. You go from Boston Celtics to the championship. You do something stupid in the front office there. Still a whole lot of unanswered questions with that whole mess, and you get picked up. You go to the Houston Rockets. Talk about a demotion. But all right, well, there's your NBA update, and now we're gonna move on to baseball. Baseball, you know. You got the Rangers playing the Yankees series right now. They're starting right now. It's 0-0, 2 outs in the bottom of the first with runners in the corner. We're actually going to the game tomorrow. We'll get into that a little bit here, so I'm excited about that. But you got and DeGrom's pitching tonight. That's right. You got Judge. He left the other night with some hip soreness. They're going to get an MRI. It's a little early for him to be getting hurt. I know that's something. You know, he's a big guy, putting a lot of torque on his hips to hit the baseball. Last season, put a lot of, a lot of struggle and hurt on that body of his. But a little early to be getting hurt already. We'll see what the MRI says. Hopefully, it's nothing for the Yankees. I would like to see him play tomorrow. I just don't think that's going to happen. They're just not going to risk. There's no reason to risk it right now early in the season. But
yeah, no, and the offense in New York has struggled mightily. The reason they've been so successful right now is the pitching staff is keeping them in every game. But they're averaging, 2 runs a game is about all they're averaging. So, the productivity from that lineup has been down. The MRI, they did it just a little while ago. They should know by the end of the night, they said, by the results. But yeah, I don't see him playing at all the rest of the Texas series, and maybe has to make a stint on the IL.
Let's see. Tampa's still red hot. They're 21-5 right now. That'll probably come to,
It will. They haven't played a whole lot of top caliber teams, but it is what it is.
Arizona leading the West. The Dodgers are 1 game back from them. Milwaukee 16-9, a team that I didn't think was going to be very good this year. I mean, I know it's still early, but I'm just looking at the early standings right now. Going into it, Texas is leading their division right now at 14-11. So I'll take. I'm actually tied with Houston. I'll take that. The Oakland Athletics have the worst start in franchise history. They have a negative. It was after like 20 games, they had a negative 100 scoring runs deficit, and that's the worst in MLB history of 100 of at least 20 games start of the season to be negative 100 on scoring runs. So they're tanking on purpose to get out of that city. With this new stadium coming in, apparently it's not finalized yet, but it looks like they'll be moving on out and probably taking it on purpose. But I don't know.
It's not good in Oakland right now.
Not good at all. Well, all right, guys. That's all I got, Craig. You got anything to add? Hockey-wise, we go after this. We're going to go jump into watching the Stars game because they play tonight and could finish that series off. Avalanche. Give me the update on the Avalanche and the Kraken.
Avalanche are down 3-2. They can lose the series tonight or have to force a Game 7 back in Colorado on Sunday. Edmonton is up 3-2 on the Kings. The Golden Knights wrapped their series up 4-1 over Winnipeg. That just got out of hand in a hurry. Yeah. Dallas can win tonight in advance, or Game 7 will be Sunday.
It's on the road, right?
Yes, they're in Minnesota tonight. The Devils have taken a 3-2 lead on the Rangers. Toronto is up 3-2 on the Lightning. Look at this series here. Boston was up 3-0 or 3-1.
I think it was 3-1, I think.
And now it's 3-2, and the Panthers are up 2-1 after the first period.
Oh, man. Could you imagine Bruins lost the first round?
Carolina was up 3-0. The Islanders have fought back to force game 6, and they're up 1-0 in the middle of the second period. So all these series are going just right, as I said, 6 or 7 games. It
didn't look like it was going to be that way when we were talking about it.
It did
at
not.
all.
It looked like Carolina was going to walk. It looked like the Rangers had won the first 2 games on the road and were surprised in New Jersey, and Dallas was down 2-1, and they've come back and played probably the best game of the series. Jake Ottinger has just put the team on his back, and been the goalie of the series. Now it will be interesting tonight what Minnesota decides to do, whether they go with Philip Gustafson, who had the hot hand and kind of stifled Dallas early in the series, or if they go with the Stanley Cup veteran in Marc-Andre Fleury, who got smoked in Game 2 by Dallas. So it will be interesting to see who they have in goal tonight. Keep an eye on the penalties. That series has been very tightly officiated, and Minnesota has had a lot of time in the box. And every time Minnesota goes to the box, Dallas seems to make them pay. The power play, they are 6 for 8 on the power play in this series. And Dallas just is making, if you're shorthanded, we're going to make you pay. And they've done it all year. Knock on wood, Pavelski did skate around this morning and looked like he was okay. He will be a game time decision tonight.
He could be that extra thing
to
power us through. So
getting him back could be a huge shot in the arm for Dallas. So that would be a interesting addition. But even it appears that even if he doesn't play tonight, he will be good to go and ready for the next round if they advance.
Thank you, Craig, for that. The game starts here, 8:30?
Yes, sir.
So
give or take.
We're looking forward to that. Now, it is time for the What's in Your Locker segment. We want to do this together since we're going to be hanging out tomorrow or whatever. But we're going to the Ranger game tomorrow. Super excited. I didn't even know it was the Yankees series. We just bought the tickets, and I looked. I was like, oh, dang, we're going to the Yankees series. First time that I'm going to the ballpark. First time for Eric. You've been there. You've been in the new ballpark before, Craig. So it'd be nice to go out there and see it. We're gonna have a good time tomorrow night and enjoy ourselves, and hopefully we go walk away with the Ranger victory, and we can rub it in Jeff's face when he's on the podcast next week. So, boy, you got anything else planned for the weekend other than that, Craig?
No, not working. Gonna take a weekend and just do nothing really. We'll have the Ranger game tomorrow night. I'll watch hockey tonight, and
hopefully not a game 7.
Hopefully not on Sunday because my anxiety does not need that.
Hockey playoff.
I don't need that negativity in my life because anything can happen in any game, and You want to hope that there's a lot of handshake lines tonight. You want to hope there's a handshake line in Minnesota. You want to hope there's a handshake line in Seattle. You want to hope that Boston can handshake their team. Carolina can send some handshakes up there. A lot of series can wrap up tonight, and to me, the handshake line is one of the most one of the greatest things in a sport because you brutalize each other for 6 or 7 games and at the end of it you shake hands and go, hey, good luck, go get them in your next series, and just like you were when you were in Little League, and you had to good game all the way across the deal. So that's very interesting. And so a lot of series could wrap up, or a lot of series could be played on Sunday. And
so playoff hockey is one of the most suspenseful, intense playoffs.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Especially when it
regular
comes to-
hockey is stressful, let alone playoff hockey. It's another deal. So, looking forward to that. And just not going to work for a couple days. So that's nice.
I agree with you on that one. We got a neighborhood on the freaking. I need to long record neighborhood garage sale tomorrow, and then we're going to the game, and then that's about it. Sunday's just gonna be church and relaxing, and it's nice to have a weekend off. And I know I'm a little different than you, but I get them more often. But it's still nice to have those off. But other than that, guys, we're gonna have a new look coming. Jeff's been busy working on some different logos and different things that we're setting up for the show. We'll probably be using a different. We use Restream right now. We'll probably be using a different platform not going forward from now, but soon enough, and things will look different. But we're going to be adding some more different things, adding a new logo, setting up some different things, new cover art. So we're changing up some of the logo stuff. But other than that, we'll continue to continue to give you the headlines of the week on Fridays, and then when football season starts, we'll go back to 2 episodes a week and give you that. But look forward to us on social media. Look forward to us on TikToks. Craig gives you his hockey hat tricks, and so
probably we'll throw one of those up Sunday when all the series wrap up. I'll probably do a quick episode Sunday to preview round 2.
So look forward to those on YouTube. We have different playlists for you to check out. So go check it out, guys. Have a great weekend. It's supposed to rain tomorrow a little bit. It's supposed to rain tonight. I hate the rainy weather, but God bless, and remember,
keep it outspoken.